Welcome to today's news wrap up. Let's dive right into the top stories making headlines today. President Trump has criticized Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy for not holding elections since the Russian invasion, calling him a dictator without elections. And that's exactly what he is. That's what I've been saying since he got rid of their elections last year. Trump claims that only his administration could successfully negotiate an end to the war with Russia. He argues that Zelenskyy has mishandled the situation, leading to unnecessary deaths and financial burdens on the U.S., while failing to account for missing funds. Zelenskyy responded by accusing Trump of living in a disinformation space. The U.S. and Russia agrees that Ukraine must hold elections as part of a peace deal, but concerns remain that elections could destabilize the region further. Senator John Kennedy criticized the Democratic Party, suggesting they should, quote, try harder not to suck. Due to their mismanagement of Congress, COVID-19, the economy, inflation, national debt, and Afghanistan. You can add more to that list too. But for sake of brevity, I won't. Kennedy accused Democrats of prioritizing bureaucrats, spending, illegal immigration, and transgender athletes over the American taxpayer, women's sports, and supporting Israel against Hamas. He also mocked the party's focus on online activism and progressive social issues. Kennedy's blunt advice reflects growing frustration with the Democratic Party's policies and leadership, and they don't seem to be changing at all. Y'all know I've been talking about that for a while too. They're doubling down, tripling down on that stuff. The Trump administration is set to revoke New York City's congestion pricing plan, calling it, quote, backwards and unfair. The plan, which imposed a $9 toll on drivers entering Manhattan below 60th Street, aimed to reduce congestion but was criticized for disproportionately affecting working-class Americans and small business owners. The Department of Transportation stated that the plan conflicted with federal highway aid rules and emphasized the need for all Americans to access New York City regardless of economic means. The administration will work with project sponsors to terminate the tolls, although the exact end date for the toll collection remains unclear. House Oversight Chairman James Comer has announced the Republicans who will join the task force focused on declassifying documents related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy and the client list of Jeffrey Epstein. Y'all know I'm looking forward to that Epstein list. I've been looking forward to it for years before they even talked about Epstein. I was one of the first ones to bring him up, and he called me a conspiracy theorist. The task force, led by Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, includes Reps Nancy Mace, Tim Burchett, Lauren Boebert, Eli Crane, Eric Burleson, and Brandon Gill. Comer emphasized the importance of government transparency and expressed confidence that the task force will deliver the truth on these critical issues. The first hearing is scheduled for March and will cover the Kennedy assassination. As of now, no Democrats have been announced for the committee. Yeah, we don't need them obstructing anything. Delta CEO Ed Bastain assured Gayle King that recent staff cuts to the Federal Aviation Authority, or FAA, had no impact on the safety flights, including the recent crash in Toronto, no matter what Chuck Schumer says. He clarified that the 300 staffers dismissed were in non-critical safety functions and emphasized that the Trump administration has invested in modernizing air traffic control systems and hiring additional safety personnel. Bastain praised the Delta crew's heroic efforts during the crash and maintained that flying remains the safest mode of transportation despite public concerns after recent aviation accidents. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada is leading the investigation into the crash with support from the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board. During an appearance on the late night show The Late Show, sorry, with Stephen Colbert, George Clooney expressed an unexpected message for President Trump, wishing him well, despite previously supporting Kamala Harris. Clooney emphasized the importance of democracy and acknowledged that the elections have winners and losers, sharing his own experiences with both. He humorously dismissed the idea of extreme reactions to election results and encouraged unity, hoping for the country's success under Trump's leadership. Clooney's comment followed his op-ed calling for Biden to step aside for the 2024 election and discussions about celebrity reactions to Trump on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Vice President J.D. Vance delivered impactful speeches in France and Germany, pledging U.S. leadership in AI development and criticizing Europe's regulatory approach to technology. Vance warned that Europe's strategy to control multinational companies would fail and assured the U.S. would protect its tech firms. At the Munich Security Conference, Vance emphasized that Europe's biggest threats is internal, highlighting issues like uncontrolled immigration, suppression of free speech, and Brussels' overreach into independent countries. He urged European elites to address these fundamental challenges to revive continent's security and prosperity. But I don't know why I kind of messed up on this. I wanted to talk about Gingrich. This was more about Gingrich and his take on what J.D. Vance had to say about it. And Gingrich absolutely agreed with J.D. Vance on his speech about us not holding the same values as Europe anymore, because Europe no longer has free speech, which is just crazy. So shout out to Newt Gingrich. Sorry, I don't have the whole synopsis on that. It didn't come out. Sorry. But Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy emphasized the importance of U.S. support and the alignment of their goals in the conflict with Russia. Zelenskyy mentioned his discussions with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte and other leaders about securing strong international backing. He highlighted the need for broad representation, including European countries, the UK, and Turkey, to ensure lasting peace and prevent future conflicts initiated by Russia. Zelenskyy remarks follow President Trump's criticism, where Trump labels Zelenskyy a dictator, which I talked about earlier, and blame him for the war, which I totally agree with. That's exactly what I would classify Zelenskyy, because he refused to have elections last year, and he blamed the war. But during World War I, Europe had and America had elections. During World War II, Europe and America had elections. So what makes him so different? But despite this, Zelenskyy remains focused, he said, on achieving guaranteed peace with strong security guarantees from international partners. I don't really think he cares about peace. I think he cares more about aligning his pocket more. The Department of Government Efficiency discovered $2 billion, with a B, $2 billion in taxpayer funds allocated to a new nonprofit linked to Stacey Abrams. She already had a failed one. The Environmental Protection Agency awarded this green energy grant to Power Forward Communities. Got the word forward in there. We all know what that means. Despite the organization having only $100 in revenue, $100 in revenue in its first 3 months. Concerns have been raised about the ethics of the Biden administration's grant allocation process and whether it favored organizations aligned with its agenda. We all know why she got that. She was supposed to get that money. The EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin expressed alarm over the scale of waste and abuse, emphasizing the need for better oversight and transparency in grant distribution. Elon Musk has shown interest in distributing $5,000 checks to every American taxpayer through a Doge dividend, funded by savings from the Department of Government Efficiency's cost-cutting measures. I'm all for that. I wouldn't mind $5,000 in my pocket. This idea, proposed by James Fishback of Azoria, would use a portion of the $1 billion saved daily by Doge The initiative aims to incentivize labor force participation by requiring recipients to be net federal income taxpayers. The plan addresses inefficiencies like unspent COVID relief funds and fraudulent unemployment claims, while also encouraging economic growth and reducing government waste. Lastly, Democratic lawmakers in Colorado have introduced a bill that would make misgendering a deceased person on their death certificate a punishable offense with fines up to 120 days in jail. That's right. If you misgender a dead person, you would get 120 days in jail. This is wild. This legislation requires the sex on the death certificate to reflect the individual's gender identity as documented or reported by a person with the right to control the remains. Critics argue that this bill undermines scientific accuracy, which it does, and poses ethical concerns for professionals involved. Similar laws exist in crazy states like California, of course, New Jersey, and Rhode Island, but they typically do not include criminal penalties. Wow. But that's all for today's news wrap up. Stay tuned for more updates, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.